time. Dave here. How are you? Today is Mother's Day in Australia. Today is the 13th of May 2018. I nearly said June. I was getting ahead of myself. It's getting very cold outside these days and very windy. I'm hoping everything's coming through. My thing is showing a red button at the moment. We'll see how it goes. I'm going to leave it sit there and see what happens. Now, I know there's people who are going to be making all sorts of comment that the stream isn't coming through very strong. But we'll see how it goes. I'm just going to leave it sit and see what happens. All right, nothing happening still. It's still on very, very poor signal. The signal is starting to pick up and dropped again. So we'll leave this go for a couple of minutes and we'll see if it actually gets any better. See what happens. I'm waiting. It's going between red and orange, red and orange. So as I say, I'm going to let it run for a bit. If it doesn't go any good, I will have to drop around to another situation where we use the phone. I know you guys are saying it's looking good so far, but I'll tell you what, the signal I'm getting here is a red signal. But what I'm going to do, I'll continue on. Hopefully it will continue. Don't know. Yellow again. Staying yellow, staying yellow. Hopefully go green. Come on, you can do it. Light yellow, kind of orange, red. Not great. Okay, we'll forge ahead. All right, here we go. Today, Stuart Cotterill's amazing easel. Now, I know he's waiting in a hotel room somewhere in transit. He wants to see his item on the show, and I'll tell you what, it's worth waiting for if the stream holds on. Okay, should we not type too loud this morning after last night? John there is referring to, it was my granddaughter's 21st yesterday. So we spent a lot of time setting everything up, and she's an amazing woman. This is her here. That's Laura. She's absolutely beautiful. Very, very, very good with children. She's works in childcare, and she is just an absolute beautiful spirit. There we go. The stream has gone green now, which is everything is going to be fine. Oh, I'm glad I didn't can it. Okay, yeah, so as I say, this is Laura, my granddaughter. My eldest granddaughter had a 21st at my place yesterday, and we spent a lot of time setting it up. Laura did all of the organizing. She just got everyone organized and said, right, you do this, you do that, you do that. Granddad, you get all this stuff set up. And so what happened, it was fine up until the time this party started. Then it started raining, and it was outside. What do you do, the poor thing? But she soldiered on. She was fantastic. It was just terrible. Everyone smiled, but I think in the inside they were throwing. It's freezing and it's raining. And even though we had 3 marquees up and the garage open, there were still people left out there huddling under umbrellas. I had a heap of people in here in the workshop. Some of them had no interest in workshops, and I thought that was a bit of a shame. You know, there was a fair few people came and had a look as well. All right, there we go. I'm going to jump off that picture there and come back to me because it's my show. So, pardon me. More coffee. There we go. That's what John was referring to. Here we go. I am old, yes, but I was an idiot. I started having children way too young. All right, now where are we? Stuart, and then the next thing, apart from Stuart's amazing easel, and you are going to get knocked out by this. The next thing is Festool plug-it cables, what not to do. Now, you might remember on last week's show, David here looked like a bit of an idiot, the way he was kind of stumbling through things. Now, I think, and I stress, I think I found the answer. So the problem was not the Festool product, but what I did. I bastardized one of their plugs to make it fit into another one of their machines. And I think the way I did it had a bad effect. And I will explain that a little bit as well. Now, that's my understanding. Now, also, I do need to say a couple of other things that I did get in touch with Festool during the week, and I got in touch with their tech department, and they got back to me with some information as well because of it. So even though it was oh, look, Dave's being an idiot on the show, it's a learning experience. So these things are very, very valuable. If they do pop up, I'll try and get to the bottom of it. But as it's happening along, the first time it happened, oh, I blame the vac. Second time it happened, I blamed this thinner lead. The third time it happened, I was just throwing my hands up in the air, but I think I've got it. All right, next thing. Is everyone well? I'm hoping the stream's still running through. It's jumping around still, but there we go. Images from the Maleny Wood Show. So we've got one of the subscribers has sent in some photos from the Maleny Wood Show. Now, Maleny Wood Show is an annual occurrence up in Queensland in Australia. The fourth thing, drum sander, change your belt demo and cleaning tip. Now, you might see the icon at the beginning of the show, and you think, what the hell's Dave got a thong up on the icon, as the icon for the show? Now, in Australia, we call thongs, you know, I don't know what to call them overseas, slaps, flip-flops, or I don't know. In Australia, we call them a thong. I'm going to show you an interesting tip with those. Kreg K4 demo. If I've got time, I've got the K4 set up here as well. There's a lot of people don't know how to use a Kreg system, or they have heard of them and are not quite sure. Well, I'll just go through one quick joint and see how we go. Not one quick joint like this, but one quick joint. All good, thumbs up. Yes, I'm getting little messages over here as well. That's fine. As I say, I'm just going to struggle through. If the stream dies and comes back, so be it. We'll just go with it. Patreon. Check out the rewards that I'm offering. So there's a whole heap of people who have jumped in with Patreon, and I thank you so much. It really does help. You know, people look at my workshop and say, oh, you know, Dave doesn't need any help. Well, you know, Dave does need help. Day-to-day life, you know, I like to eat. I like to be able to buy clothes, all the kind of stuff that everyone else does. What you see in here is an amalgamation of all of my life. This is basically my life savings I've poured into these buildings and this property. I don't own anything else. This is it. So even though that might sound, oh, well, if that's it, it's pretty cool. Well, it is, but I've worked bloody hard to get it. So as I say, the Patreon thing is a thing just to help me keep the day-to-day running thing. And that is so good, so much appreciated. And I'll let you know who's bringing the show to you this week. It is being brought to you today by Roger DeBolt, Johannes Mohr, John Wilson, John Parra, Vincent Ngian, Lewi Uberg, and Raymond Tot. If you want your name in there as well, jump into the Patreon link and go for it. For people that don't watch the show or haven't watched the show before, the first thing that's going to happen is we'll be talking a little bit of chat. I'll let you know what's going to be happening on the show today. This takes around 10 minutes at the beginning of the show, so if you can bear through this, we do get into some demonstrations a little bit further down the track. Chat, keep the channel afloat using the links below. So as I say, below this picture that you're seeing at the moment, there's a Show More button. Click that Show More button. It expands everything, so if you want to know where I get things, you can see, and all the links to different things that happen as well. All right, where are we up to? And the winner of the Stanley level DeBolt shirt and cap, I will let you know later on in the show. And I've got to remember his name. It's a guy, and remember, this is an Australian one. Down in the Show More area as well are links to the next competition, which is again another Stanley level DeBolt shirt and cap, but this time it'll be a different level. So what I do is the person that wins the first competition, they've got a choice of the three: the carbon fiber, the box section, and the girder style. Your call. The winner of the second competition, it drops down a little bit, and the winner of the last one go, oh me, oh my, I got what's left on the wall. The wallflower level, there we go. All right, let's get into it. The first thing I want to do is, what shall I do first? The Stuart Cotterill's easel. Here we go. I'll grab that and pop it over here. There we go. I need a new blue shirt. Boy, where are we? Thongs are a totally different thing over here. Okay. Wife's family and friend in the States laugh when I tell them about it. Okay, well, that's cool. Here we go. You ready? I will flick this on, and I might even read a little bit for Stuart as we go. Here we go. Okay, hi Dave. Here is my latest project, an artist H-frame easel per the design of Robert Parrish. I made it in oak and walnut. I locked my wife out of visiting the workshop with the ruse that I was building her a cabinet for the bedroom. The day of the big reveal was quite an occasion. She loved it. Being retired and justifying my right to buy tools as she sells her paintings. I, of course, made a large one to meet the Festool price levels. Now I need to get back to my workshop, back into its Stanton level of neatness. Busy schedule means I'm missing the chat shows lately, but never miss the reruns. All the best and keep up the great shows. All the best from Stu in Asheville. How good is this? Isn't that amazing? He's gone to so much detail, and Stuart sent in these photos for me after he sent the first couple of photos. He said, look at this. I said, you've got to send me more. You've got to send me more of these images. These are fantastic. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to let it run for a little bit, and you can see he's got all sorts. Is that a set of weights you've got there to counter the weights of the actual paintings in there? Rubber grommets, they look like roofing screw rubber washers for polycarbonate roofing. Amazing. And the bit of metal going into the guides there. And there he is again with his beautiful easel. Top-notch job there. Stuart, what do you think of that? This man is a talent. He did some beautiful draws the other day in a cabinet. We saw those around 2 months ago, and this is his follow-up. He's just, you know, I get embarrassed looking at the stuff he does because he just makes me look like I'm a hack. Anyway, what's the next thing? That's Stuart. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, I'll go over to the drum sander. So I'll switch cameras. If you're right, we'll switch over there and we'll have some fun. Now this one, the camera is not going to be on me at all. It's going to be totally on the dust extractor. And I'll come over and we'll go through a few things. So you won't see me, just my hands, because I wanted to get it in nice and close for you. Now you'll notice that that belt is absolutely terrible. You know, I've been doing paint with it, like cleaning paint off, and it bogs up on here, and it's almost impossible to get off that actual belt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect the power to the machine, and I'm going to test that it's off. Yep. So I'll leave that there so I know that it's safe to work on. Now with this particular machine, up the end here, I don't know if you can see that, maybe not. I'll rotate the machine around a little bit. Can you see it now? Up the end is a little pin that you push and it locks into the system here. Now I'm going to just put it in there and it lets me pull the drum backwards and see that? Look at how it just releases it. So I can take that out, go forwards, the pin spring loaded, and now I can do this. Now this is a 400mm drum sander, which in the old language is 16 inches, I think. Let me have a look around the back here. There we go. Pull that clip out, and out it comes. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a new belt in. Now these belts have a shape on the end, and it's designed to line the belt up in the right direction. So I will put this in here. I'll spin it back around again a little bit so you might be able to see what's happening in the end. I'll turn around to there. Just here is the clip. So I push that up, and then I can slide this back into there. And I just hold it so it's nicely lined up on the edge, and then I let it go. Slowly put it back on. Now the important thing is that you keep some pressure on the belt. Don't just put your hand down there and turn, because you're going to have lovely smooth hands and no fingerprints. Slowly putting it back on, and make sure you don't get an overlap. It's okay to have a little bit of a gap there. That's not going to stress it too much. But don't have any overlap, because you'll get a ridge. Now the grade that I'm putting on at the moment is an 80 grit. See that it says 80, P80. And these things are cut to the right length, so that as you're putting them on, it's all going to work. Now we're at the end there again. I'll spin it back around this way, pull it back this way, push that in and pull back, and that is holding the jaws open in the spring-loaded catch at this end. And now I can push this in And you spend a little bit of time just getting that in there in the right spot. And then when I come back, it's grabbed it. How good is that? Now, what I'm going to do is get the other belt that was there and have a look at have a look at the difference. Now, I'm going to grab something else in the meantime. I should have got this out before. I'm going to grab a knife. Where are we? I won't use a knife. I'll use these scissors that John Lewis got for me. Look at these Bessie scissors. Amazing, aren't they? Now, where's that thong? Ordinarily, you would use this thing. This is called a belt cleaning stick, and it's just a chunk of rubber. And you hold it down, and it cleans off all of the rubbish. So I'm going to use a thong instead, because it's rubber. It will do it. So I'm going to cut the ends off, because I would hate to have my hands caught in there, and it gets caught in there or over the back and drags me in. So I'm going to get rid of anything that might be a problem. Now, whilst this is happening, I'm not really reading what's happening up on the chat. So you guys will be fine with that. Get rid of these little things that also, they may end up getting caught in the system. Yeah, what a terrible thing for poor old Laura. She spent so much time getting everything ready for the party, and it was fine up until people started arriving, and then it started raining a little bit, and it got harder and harder, and every now and then it would stop raining, and then it would start again. I don't know. What do you do? What I'm going to do first is I'm going to run a piece of timber through here to put a little bit more sawdust on there to make this all a little bit more dramatic for you. Close that. It's plugged in. I will get my dust extractor running and some earmuffs on. And this will be a first. I'm going to wear my ordinary earmuffs instead of the eye muffs. Turn on the dust extractor. Here it's sucking away there. Now you might need to turn your volume down a little bit. Feed this in, bit of cypress pine. .80 grit, that's just amazing. And also I try to put it through like so. Back to you over here. Now, that is crosshatched. You can see that. And that's the thing with a drum sander. Never just put it through once and then crank it down to the next level. Work it 3 or 4 times at the one height. And the reason I've done it at angles is that you'll find that it levels the piece of timber off a little bit better. And any time you cut across grain, it's more effective than cutting along the grain. It's just how it works. So if you rough it with across the grain and then the final one, long grain, and we'll do that in a second, it works a whole lot better. So it's still cutting. Only a little bit, but it's still doing it. See that? No dust. And look at the difference now. Anyway, that camera may not be showing it terribly well, but there you go. All right, here we go. We're going to open this up and have a look. And because the belt was pretty clean at the beginning, it's not too bad now. All right, I'm going to run that with the thong. I've lost my thong. Where is it? There it is. You idiot. Why didn't you tell me, you guys, so I could have seen it then straight away? Here we go. Now you hold it in such a way where your hands aren't going to be, you know, prone to getting stuck there. Look at that. How good is that? Are you impressed? I'm going to turn the dusty on as well because I saw some blue stuff flying up in the air. Now, even though I'm not shut, the dust extraction is still working. Now you'd swear that's a new belt. Look at that. How nice, how nice, how nice. I've got this blue stuff everywhere and it's gone down onto here. That could be an issue for you if you've got something that's, you know, you don't want to get any blue on. I would possibly get the compressed air gun and turn the machine on and just blow along here as the conveyor belt's turning and clean all this out. It may disappear anyway as soon as you put that back on. But that's pretty cool. Let me see, what time we got? I think it's time to go over and do something else. All right, we're going to switch the cameras back to here. What did you think of that? Your belt sander is going to smell like a foot. Can you also use the dried out silicone tubes? You possibly could. I haven't even thought about that. You'd probably want to cut the plastic off the outside though, maybe a knife down either side and split it so it comes off. But that sounds like a pretty good idea. Hello from Wisconsin, a little late tonight. That's okay, Dave. Yeah, see, things like this go great. I keep imagining a UK lass wearing an Aussie thong for the purpose of keeping her bits warm. My boggles. Well, yeah, see, we also have thongs for, you know, that kind of skimpy underwear. But, you know, in Australia, thongs have been around a whole lot longer than thongs have. Now, you worked out, chicken or the egg. I used an old gum rubber shoe soles before. Works exactly like the commercial cleaning sticks. It does indeed. So maybe if you're going to throw some old thongs out or some flip-flops or whatever you want to call them, have a second thought. As I say, it's very important to cut those parts off that go over the top of your foot, because that could be terrible if your hand got caught for whatever reason and dragged in. So you want it so it can be kind of fly clear of all of that. Where are we up to? That's been a bit of fun. Where can you buy those thongs from? I have no idea. Now, we also have, the stream is showing me that it's red at the moment, so if it's still going fine, I'm happy. I'll take no notice of that red signal there. Is it still coming through, or has it been a bit choppy? If you can just leave a comment. If you see other people throwing comments, then too much information. Okay, so as I say, if you could, one or two people could just throw in a comment, say, yeah, it's going okay, or, you know, it's a bit choppy. You know, we have to put up with what I've got, and that is a very slow internet connection. My upload speed this morning was 0.6 of a megabyte, which isn't great. And my download was only a crummy 2.7 meg down. Anyway, if you're all good, that's fine. Next thing. So we've talked about the drum sander. We've done Stuart's amazing easel. How about we do the competition winner straight away? And again, it's an Australian person. And I'm pretty sure that it is Mr. Allen. Now, I think it's Daryl Allen, is it? I will need to check, but I'm pretty sure it is. I will email you. The reason I'm a little bit doubtful is that I haven't got that popping up in front of me. Dave, when the belts get really gummed up, what's the best way to clean them? 88 and 22 thumbs up. Okay. Yeah, throw the thumbs up. It's always good. It helps. It does help. Yeah. I'm not an egotistical person. Well, not normally, but the thumbs up does help. It's like ratings. So, you know, with TV stations, if they've got good ratings on their shows, you know, it's good for the channel. Well, if you give me good ratings by a thumbs up, that always helps. Oh, and the other thing is, all of the streams that I've done over the last 6 months, I think, I've been putting them onto the second channel. So again, have a look at the show more button at the below this image that you're watching at the moment, and click on the link to the second channel. Now, it's about 280, 290 people have subscribed to the channel. I need to get it up to 1,000. So if you haven't subscribed to that second channel, and that's where the archive of all of these shows goes to. I leave the show up for about a week, and then it goes over to that channel. So you might want to go through those shows and have a look and say, this is the one Dave was talking about his thong. Okay, all good. Excellent. Now, next thing. I'm going to read some of the things that were sent in for the level as to why people should have them. The first person didn't make any comment about the level. He just wanted the DeBolt hat. He says, have you seen my cap? It's a biohazard and needs replacement ASAP. Can't pass up anything that might be free. Well, that's honest. It's good to be well-dressed and on the level. Yeah, it's a bit corny, but I'll go with that one. My old level has developed a bow enough to fit my pinky. Plus, my work shirts are covered in glue. I can get that. I understand. I have to be so careful with these shirts. I've got one or two of them. I've got a couple of glue spots on them. There's nothing much I can do. It's epoxy. And if I was to break that, it'll be a hole in the shirt, and then I'd lose that whole shirt. So now and then you'll see me with a shirt with a bit of marking on it. Look away. Look away. Because I only have clerical shirts to wear in my shed. Now, I'm guessing, without actually knowing, because I just write these down like this, that would be Father Brett. Okay, the shirt and cap are needed when I use the level to set up the concrete frame for under the carport. Well, that's, day-to-day use. I can get that. Everything is relative. Levels are relative. Relatives are for life. You, Dave, keep it on the level. Great show. That's almost like a 6 degrees of separation. Is it 6 or 7 degrees? I think it's 6 degrees of separation. Wow, that's a pretty impressive thumbs up there, Mark. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Of course, I don't have any. Simple. I was secretly going to buy for myself, but the missus has tight purse strings. The level is needed to ensure the cap is put on straight. It's running out of shirts. I'm building a new kitchen, need a new level to keep it straight. I've never found a plumb wall or level floor in my home. Help me correct this mess and do it in style. I'm an apprentice carpenter, and this would be so handy to add to my tool collection. That's a good idea. Everyone tells me I'm bent. Perhaps a new level will improve some of my projects. I want to look like I know what I'm doing. Fake it till you make it. Because a Veritas straight edge is too expensive. I'll tell you what, a level's not a straight edge. A straight edge is a straight edge, and that's all there is to it. And they may be expensive, but I'll tell you what, they go through some fine machining to get those things as straight as they are. Not taking anything away from the Stanley levels, but the Veritas straight edge would probably be done to a finer tolerance. Getting the plans, parts and tools together to start my backyard garden and deck. That's great. Well, you can never have too many levels, and DeBolt shirt and cap will go with my DeBolt cordless toolkit bought 17 years ago and still going strong. I like that. My DeBolt gear up there I've had for a long time. Some of the tools are newer than the others, but they last and last and last. All right. Cough, cough. We're halfway through the show. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? What's the next thing? I should have a pen here. There we go. Speak of the devil. So that's Stuart's stuff done. Images from the Maleny show. We might do that next. Here we go. Let's have a look. See if I've got these. These are from Steve. Maleny, there we go. I'm going to just start this up, and I'll have a bit of a chat as we go. Steve Brifford sent these to me. This is a show that happens up in Queensland. Now, Steve has just wandered around with his phone and took a few photos from here and there. There's nothing really in depth in these images, but it does show that the car park's pretty full and there's plenty of timber around, slabs to buy. It's looking good. It's looking good. Look at all the cars, all the people there. That's amazing. Pretty overcast as well. A heap of burls and all sorts of different things on trees. I think all of those would be burls. Some of the crowd getting around. And more. Oh, wooden trucks. It would have been nice, Steve, if you got a photo nice and close of those wooden trucks. Maybe next time. More slabs for sale. And at the end of the show, all tuckered out and sitting down on a hay bale having something to eat. I love it. Thank you so much. If you've got an event that's local in your area, that's a timber show or hand tools, things like that, and you think other people might be interested in seeing them, please send them in to me. They're one of those things that they, when you're actually seeing it and you're thinking, oh yeah, I can see this, and no one's really going to be interested except for me. And a lot of the time, pardon me, I'll get some more drink. A lot of the time, when I'm about to do something, sometimes I'll put the video cameras on, sometimes I won't. Vicky says to me, do it all the time. If you're doing something, even though we see this as commonplace, we do it all the time, there's going to be someone out there that's going to say, wow, the penny's dropped, you know, why didn't I do that? Where I've been doing it for so many years, it's as I say, it's commonplace to me, and I don't think anyone else would be really interested. So a point in fact, the pressure cleaning video I did on that cypress pine table that I've released, I released the video just over a day ago, 24, maybe 30 hours ago. That was something I was just going to do because I was trying to get the table ready to go out for Laura's party, as you know, as a serving table, throw food on, and I thought, I'll give it a quick tidy up and make it clean. You know, she's put a lot of effort in. I'd try and do my bit as well on top of the other things that we were doing. So I'd started, and I thought, all right, crazy. Put the cameras on. And then even to the stage of sanding it the next day, I was just going to do it on pressure cleaning. I thought, well, people might be interested in seeing it being sanded and waxed. So I didn't even put the cameras on for the sanding. I forgot. And I thought, oh, well, I'll just go with it with the waxing. And I've also had a few people say, you know, I'm surprised that you used a wax on that table that's going to live outside. Well, the thing is, that table is on casters, and I can roll it around in the garage, outside, inside, outside. It doesn't really, it doesn't really make that much difference for that particular table. I like it. I like to use that wax because I have it. And I did make a comment. There's some people said, oh, you know, maybe it's not the right product. Maybe you should use Osmo oil. And I probably will, but I need to buy the Osmo oil. I had that wax on the wall. It took me 2 hours to do the whole job. You know, pressure clean it, let it dry. Letting it dry took a few hours, but then give it a quick sand and a wax, and then it's there. You know, I don't have to wait days for Osmo oil to cure. I think it's around 30 days. If you can leave a comment up there with the Osmo oil as to how long that product has to cure before you can actually start using it. There are other products that you can use for outside use, and I've looked at those and I've read them and I've went through the whole thing. It says after 6 months or a year, rub it all back and reapply it. I'm thinking, well, I do that with the wax anyway, so what's the difference here? Anyway, there we go. Matthew, you need to call it a day. I need to start painting the house again. Well, good on you. Go for it. What's the next thing we're going to do? Tick more things off. It's from the Maleny Wood Show. And, okay, the new competition, as I say, new competition's down there waiting for you. Just jump in, click on it. Again, it's limited to people in Australia. I'm going to spin this camera around that direction, and I'm going to go through these plug-it cables with you and tell you the things I discovered. And the camera is going to be up pretty close and personal. So we'll flip it up just a little bit like that. Okay, you can see me there all right? Now, this is a thin plug-it cable. Now, this is one that's used for a sander. So it's very flexible, and it does take a full 10 amps. It is rated for 10 amps. I'm going to put my hand behind it there, and you might just see on the, whoop, that way. Oh, it's hard to work backwards. There you go. Read it. It's 10 amps at 240 volts. Nice and flexible. Now, the difference with this one is, can you see that bump at the top. So you've got the two little eyes, and looks like a little nose or a mouth, and above it, he's got a monobrow. See that? Little bump up there. Now that little bump up the top is designed so that you can't put it into the tools that have got the heavier duty capacity. So those tools are the big domino, which is the one that I was using, and also the track saw over there. And I'm sure there's a few others as well, but yeah. So David here didn't have a heavy duty cable one time, and he did this. Let me put the glasses back on. Up this side. Oh, I'm having a stinker. There. See how I've shaved the top off? Now the thing is, I didn't shave it off enough. And so I just cut the area so I could get into the machine and got going with it. And it worked. And it's the skinny cable again. Now the thing is, I think one of the things that happened was, on the other day, last week, because I didn't take enough of it off, and you're not supposed to do this, you know, Festool say that it'll work, but they strongly advise you use the heavier cable that looks like this at the top. See how that's straight out of the factory. This is my green anti-marking cable. It's a heavy duty, much stiffer. I think the reason was that I had the problem was because when you put this into the machine and rotate the handle, you are locking those two contacts onto the two pins that are inside the sander in the connection. Because that wedge was on the top, it may have been arcing. I may have been pushing it down, so it was touching on one point but not touching the other point. It wasn't aligning properly on the pins. I think that was the problem. And I'm getting all sorts of messages coming through on the side here. I guess we're still going. Are we still going, guys? I hope so. All right, so there you go. That's the story on those plug-it cables. It will take the current, the ampage. It's not a problem. It's a flexible one. This one is also a flexible, but it's not as flexible as this guy, and it's green for high vis, and also so it doesn't mark motor vehicles. Because if you're using a sander when you're working with a car to, you know, clean up the Duco, this will not mark anything. The black leads may have a tendency of doing that. So I'm told. All right. My plug-it cord for my sander went bang in a cloud of smoke. Lost wits. A pin from the tool broke off and is now in the lead. Wasn't impressed. Matt Warner, Naughty Dave, small wires are hot wires. Get the heavy ones for everything, and fitting becomes academic. Yeah, see, that's the thing. As I said, you know, it was a little bit embarrassing last week when I was using the domino. So, yeah, look at this, you know, oh, wow, this is going to go great. And it didn't. And, you know, I was there with egg on my face. And it serves me right for stuffing around with that. So as I say, Festool said it will work, but they strongly recommend you use the heavy duty cable to for the more demanding power of the bigger machines. All right, so there we go. I hope that has been a little heads up. They Festool do sell these cables as heavy duty and the lightweight ones, and they are a consumable item. Now, why? I'll do one more thing about these. Why do people like plug-it cables? Well, two reasons. You haven't got a lead hanging off the back of the tool all the time, so you can put it in the sustainer, and it's easy to put away. The other thing is there's these things called tag and test. In Australia, we've got these things called tag and test, where the cable is tested, and you know it's got a little tag on it that says, "Yeah, I'm fine." And I think that lasts for 3 months, maybe 6 months. And there's a lot of industrial or commercial building sites. If you are on there and you don't have your leads tagged and tested, well, then you're in trouble. You know, you might be asked to leave, or you know, could even get a fine. So if you it costs you dollars to do that. So I think it's about anywhere between $10 and $15 to have one lead tagged and tested. Now, if you've got, say, 15 machines, well, there's $150 to $200 that you have to outlay. If you've only got 1 or 2 cables tagged and tested, you can switch those between machines. So you can save a lot of money. So as I say, people say they don't like the plug-it leads. Some people say they do. I'm just offering up a reason why the plug-it cables are a good idea, even if they do break down now and then. And you obviously putting stuff in and rotating, taking it out, putting back in. You know, you're going to have these duty cycles that I don't know how long they're going to go, but Festool will be able to tell you. Obviously, I'm going to rotate this one back over to there and slightly down. 3 months, is it, Matthew? Thank you. Yes, they are a different material. So the green cable is much stiffer than the black cable. It's nowhere near as pliable. Michael, don't worry about the egg on the face, just to show it happens to everyone. Oh, exactly right, Michael. Thank you. 3 months for the tag and test. Okay, thanks, Matthew. Lost Bits tool tagging is a joke. Why does an extension need lead testing? Well, I guess I can't answer that one because I'm not in the game anymore. But I can offer suggestions. If you're in a work environment and you've got some water on the floor, or you're going past metal items and you get an arc happening from a bare wire on a lead, maybe, because that's one of the things they test for, you may end up giving someone a zap down the other end of the building through the frame. I know a lot of the time these days everything's got negative earth leakage breakers on it. This building's got a negative earth leakage breaker, which means quicker than a heartbeat, the power's shut off if there is a negative to earth bridge, which shorts it out, and it says, all right, there's a problem there. And you could be the person that the thing bridging it as well. Hadn't realized the monobrow thing. Useful to know. There you go. Do both styles of cords have the same amperage rating? They do. Now on the heavy duty one, it also says 13 amps for 140 watts or 130 watts. Now I thought in the States it's 110. So that'd be a 13 amp, and that just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe I don't know, amps and volts and watts are all correlated, as I showed in last week's show. So I don't know. Darren or Daryl Allen was the winner. I've got to check the name. I'm so sorry that I didn't get that name, and I don't dare jump onto my email because I emailed it to myself, but I never dragged it up before. It's a necessary pain and expense, but it's less than a cord than the cost of medical downtime. Exactly right. All right. Next thing. Are you enjoying this kind of stuff that I'm bringing to the shows these days? As I say, I watch other people's live shows, and some are a whole lot more intense than mine. Some are, I'm going to stand in front of the monitor and just read what people are saying. So I'm trying to do it halfway between, so it's still like a chat in a pub, for instance, or a hotel, whatever you want to call it, or in a lounge room, and also a little bit of a men's chat experience, because that's what they enjoy doing, having a bit of a chat. And then it's also going through some of the machines and the details about what I've discovered about them. So that thing with the thong on the belt sander, on the drum sander, I reckon that's great. You can also do it on a bobbin sander. Did you know that you can use a thong on a bobbin sander and a drum sander? And I bet you it would work the same on my linisher. Of course it would. Okay. It's in the US that you'll see 117, 120 or reference, or same 130 volts reference a few times. Tool tagging is not just for the lead, it's also for the tool. Correct, if that tool is always connected to that lead. See, you'll tag extension leads, and I'm sure if look, it's a bit of a dodgy area, and I don't like to use the word dodgy in the same sentence as I'm talking about Festool, because they are very straight up and down as far as the company's concerned. There's no, what they say is what they say, and there's no getting around it. But that's my offering up of a suggestion as to why I like the plug-it cables. If I have a cable that's tagged and tested and it's in a machine, who's to say that it's wrong? They may change that now, and Festool will probably get in touch with me and say, Dave, you idiot, why did you say that? Okay, Dave, you're doing it about right. Like a chat over the fence. Yeah, hints and tips are great. If we didn't like it, Dave, we wouldn't be here Well, thank you. That's very sweet of you, Wayne. I told Barry that you got him that treat last week, and he nodded. Got his little head and went like that. Thank you very much for that. Oh, it's Mother's Day in Australia. I might have mentioned that right at the beginning of the show. I haven't got in touch with my mum yet. I will do later on this afternoon. But my kids got something for my wife yesterday, and she had a big smile. You know, because all the kids came down from wherever they lived. You know, my son came down from Queensland. The kids all came up from Sydney, and the kids from here, and people came from all over the place for Laura's birthday yesterday. It was just amazing. You know, people flew down on purpose to see her. How nice is that for her 21st? Yeah. So whilst all the family was here, we did a Mother's Day thing yesterday for Vicky, so she was over the moon. Very big smile, photo with the children. She loves it. I'm guessing all mums are like that, and if they're not, well, that's a bit sad. What can I say? Let me see. The giveaway last week was the Irwin tool bag. Now, Deb Scott won that last week, and she sent in some pictures for me. I'll see if I can find those for you. Here we go. Now, remember that I asked her to put the cat in the bag. It looks like Cat in the Hat from Dr. Seuss. Mother's Day tomorrow for you in Houston. Okay, everything's fine. Great. Zane is interested to know what maintenance you do on the table saw aside from keeping it clean. All right, I'm going to... loving the show's usual day. Today I'm moving my airline up and making a clamp rack while the show plays in the background. Happy days. Oh, Nick, that's a great idea. I know a few people that have me running in the background. Why aren't I in the foreground? But anyway, take a photo. Take a photo of what you're doing with the show running at the moment. That'd be great as well. All right, now we've got Debbie. And we'll throw this on. I don't know how long it's going to stay there for. Got the package today. Thanks again for taking the time to share your knowledge and run these giveaways. There is Riff giving me the evil eye, and Raff with his head out. There are cats' names, Riff and Raff. Couldn't convince the young lady she wanted to spend time in the bag, even for biscuits. So I went for the boy. He is much more amenable to do things for food, though neither of them thought the hat went with their fur. But my partner is called Dibs. They're happy faces. And let me have a look what we got here. I'm sure they are both very grateful to Jeremy for making these prizes available. I know I am. Cheers, Debbie. That's great. That's I love to get feedback like that. It's, you know, makes the world go round. I give you guys a little bit of information from here. If you can send back some photos and some projects that you're working on, like Stuart's amazing easel, or as I said before, you know, if only you're making a breadboard, I don't care. I love to see the images of the things you're working on. Now, a lot of people are throwing photos up on my Facebook page, and if you want to get onto that page as well, it's a closed club. In the description box or the show more button down the bottom, go down through there, you'll find the link to that as well. And you can apply, and then I sit in judgment and I'll check out what you like to look at. And if I deem you a responsible character, I give you a ticket to come in. Otherwise, not going to happen. Let me see, what's the next thing? So that's Debbie, get that one. I think that's just about it. Festool plug-it cables, what not to do. Kreg K4. Now, I did say I was going to do a demo with the K4. And also some more drink. Nope. Okay, Wayne, wishing Vicky and all the mothers happy Mother's Day. Happy Mum's Day to everyone. Terrific. I'm going to turn the camera around again. And let's see if we can set some things up. Okay, and tip this down. That might be going to blow it all. Yes, it will. I'll get the other camera because it doesn't tend to do that. I can set that up so it's running at a slightly different degree. There. Now see, you can see a little bit of the yellow in that camera. So down here, this is, you know, it's not going to be perfect, but it will do it. Now these are 2 pieces of 3/4 inch ply, and I'm going to use the pocket hole jig to lock them together. So I can, either end, doesn't really matter. How about we do that side and that side? First thing to do is align so we know where we're at. And I should have got a sharp pencil, but I don't have one. And a piece of something to mark a line with, and I haven't got one of those either. I'm a little bit slack, aren't I? Oh, that piece of cypress is a bit dodgy, but it'll do it. So when I do a joint, what I do is I line up the edges. Now it doesn't have to be perfect straight away. You can, if you want to. This is going to be hard for you guys to see. There we go. You can, if you want to, you can bring it back a little bit so you could cut that off. That's called a horn. If you leave a piece, if it sits proud, that's called the horn, and you can cut that off after. So I'm going to just make it flush without using a horn there, and I'm going to pop that there and do a line, and there and do a line. Now if I wanted to be very, very good, I would do this and then this. Now that's a face and an edge mark. That's how you can reference yourself as you're traveling around. And I can do this one. See that? Face and edge. And that lets me know, if I sand that off, and I've still got this exposed, I know where I am still. So if I'm trying to create the joint, so see my face marks are both pointing into that intersection point, and both of my edge marks are also pointing to the top. All right. Now what I'm going to do next is get my jig. This is a K4 jig from Kreg, and mine is old. You can see it's a bit worse for wear. It's got bits missing. And also at the back here, for some people that don't realize, there is an Allen key receiver there. You can just put your Allen key in and it can live there, so you don't lose it. All right. Where am I up to? Now, I need to go through a couple of things. First thing is we need to measure the piece of timber that we're going to be using. And so this one is 19 millimeters. I don't know if you can see it there. Whoop, that way around, upside down, all that kind of stuff. 19 mil, which is close enough to 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to do that kind of a joint. Now this selection wheel is fantastic. It tells you the 2 different types of joints you can be doing. So a butt joint or just, you know, a flat joint like a face frame. And then, so I'm going to do a flat joint face frame, and I'm going to bring it up here so it's easier to see. These are both 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go 3/4 with 3/4, 3/4 and 3/4. So part A thickness, part B thickness. And it tells me there 3/4 inch jig setting and 1 1/4 inch screw. Can you see that? That should be easy enough to read there. Okay. So I set the jig. I'll take the dust port off. I set the jig to, what did it tell me to set it to? 3/4 inch jig setting. So 3/4 inch. I undo this and drop that down to 3/4 of an inch. Tighten this up. There's little indents in the back there that the brass screw goes into. All right. Now, and down here, I need to set the drill to 3/4 of an inch, 19 millimeters. Now, how we do that is the drill bit is over here and it has a collar. So there's a collar here, and I'm going to loosen that collar. This is a stepped drill. So I think this is 3/8 of an inch here, and this is the thickness of the actual screw. Now, the screws are all square drive. I should have really got a square drive out prior to doing this, but I haven't. Now, we sit the collar in this little recess down here, and we move this along until it reaches that 3/4 inch line. See, it's upside down at the moment. I'll turn it up the other way so you can see it. See the stepped section on the drill? I need to slide that down till it comes in line with the 3/4 mark. Then I get the Allen key and I tighten that up. Someone had made comment that I sound like Bob Ross. Now, I have no idea who Bob Ross is. Until yesterday, Laura said Bob Ross was a famous artist, and he had a very calming voice and also could teach anyone to paint. So all this time, I had no idea who Bob Ross was, but now I'm thinking, wow, what a hell of a compliment. Thank you so much. Where are we? Now, that's my face. Now be aware, if I want my face to stay nice and clean, I need to turn the timber over because I'm going to be drilling through the back. So I'm going to slide that down, and also make sure you know which way you're going to be going. So either I could put the screws in from this side or I can put them in from this side. Plywood, it doesn't really matter that much unless you're going to make a feature of it. And if you're making a feature of the plugs, you turn it over this way, do your hole, and then you use a contrasting coloured plug over the screws when it's been put in, and sand that off, and it looks really, really nice. So either way, I'm going to do it. I'll do it through the face. Why not? Let's do it through the face, and we have to set the jig to the right depth, and that's just a matter of undo this while it's pulled towards you. Now I can use this, or I've also got the Kreg K4, the compressed air model, the pneumatic one, and it is fantastic. I use it to go through things really quickly. But this one is also very handy, and it's also got this block that I can take out and use in other situations. Right, now I can hold on. I can line that up like so, and then, I don't know if you can watch it. See that? That's holding that perfectly. Now on the back here is a dust port. Let me move that out of the way and put this back in the jig where it lives. I'm hoping you can see all of this. Yep. On the back here is a dust port, and this thing here is one of these malleable hard rubber things that you can use as a reducer. So you cut it off. I think I cut this off there. You can cut it off to fit onto or inside of things. So I cut it off to go onto this little port here because I was thinking, how the hell am I going to connect? My stuff won't fit on it. And then it clips under there. And these are great because it clears all the crap out of the hole as you're drilling the hole. Then this end fits my hose on the dust extractor. So this is a 27mm Festool hose. And that goes straight on to there. So you'll be pretty surprised how well it works. And then see that as wanting to fall off. So I use a clamp. This one just happens to be a Kreg hold down clamp. And I'll slide that under there. Unlock it. How good is that? You liking this? Let me tip that up a little. All right. I might tip it down just a touch. It's coming. I'll come in a bit closer. How's that? And down. Trying to get the thing to work properly. All right. Now the drill. Pop that in. A drill that's got a chuck that's going to be able to handle it, and seeing it's only a 3/8, that should fit most drills. Okay, and I've got it on 4. I'm going to slide my drill down to 3. Now people have said, what's this drill, Dave? Why haven't it Festool? Well, it is a Festool drill basically. This is a Pro Tool. Festool had 2 brands. They had Festool and Pro Tool. They thought it was getting a little bit too confusing, and so they just switched everything over to Festool. You can buy this exact same drill as a Festool, and I love this thing. It goes up to 3,900 RPM in top speed, and I don't think there's any other battery drill that can match it. All right, now I'm going to turn the dust extractor on. Hear that? And drill the hole. Now this is the moment of truth. We hope the hole hasn't gone all the way through. I'm not going to show you guys. No, it hasn't. It's perfect. So there's the hole. And you can see down inside the hole. And you'll also see it has not come through at this end. And that's on purpose. So I'll drill the other hole now. Lining that up. There's a whole heap of holes. There are a whole heap of holes there. I can do 3 different types of configurations there if I want to. Turn this back on. Turn it down 1 more gear. Now there's 2 things happening there. I had it on 3rd gear. I dropped it back down to 2nd gear halfway through that hole. And I've only got a little 1.5 amp hour battery on it. If I had the 6.2 on it, it just tends to deliver the grunt into the motor so much better. These things are just, a nice little lightweight battery. I should have really switched it over, but I didn't. Take that out of there. So I have the 2 holes. I'll get rid of that. Drop that down there. What's the next thing I've got to get? We've gone 12 o'clock, but I'm just going to finish this joint off, guys. And I spin that around. Let's spin it around this way so you can actually see it going together. This is where we use the clamp on the Stanton bench to hold things down nicely. Lined up. Beautiful. I'm going to grab the other driver. Give me a sec. Where are we? This one. And square drive. And I've got the chuck there, that's fine. 1.25" screws. What do we got there? 1.25". I think they're 1.25". 1.25" coarse is what I need. Yep, they are 1.25". I had them around the wrong way. These things are a whole lot cheaper if you buy them as a whack of them instead of, the small 100 packs. Unless, of course, you're just using the 100 pack and that's all there is to it. I'll throw the other battery on. I'll throw a Festool battery on and you'll see that they all fit. There we go. You don't have the hole go all the way through the timber, David, on purpose. The reason being, these things are designed to... I can't do 2 things at once. Drop that down to 1st gear now. That's beautiful. These things are, let me come around here, are a hardened steel screw and they are a self-tapper. An extremely coarse thread and they're designed to cut in all the way. They need to maximize how it's done big time. So I'll put it in. And the second one, when I say maximize things big time, they need to maximize the purchase into the receiving piece. It really makes no difference if they finish maybe a millimeter away from the end on this, or whether it was to pop out. But the best thing to do is not to pop out so that you don't have any furry part interfering with the joint. Like if I've got 2 pieces of timber I'm trying to put together and there's a little bump coming out of one of the pieces of timber, it's not going to pull together properly, and that bump might fall to the side of the joint as the timber's coming together properly, and that would be terrible. I'll put the second screw in. Gotcha. Look at that. What a joint. If I hold it like that, you'll see it better. So there's the joint there. And on the end, you can see that is a super tight joint. And you know what? What I might do is I might just give that a quick cut with the... no, I'll put it on the linisher. Give me a sec. I will spin things around. Move this to there. Move that to there. And swing the camera around. Which one is it? This one? No, it's that one. Over here. I'm going to run this on the, lost the piece of timber now. Where is it? There it is. I'm going to run that on there. Get my on-off here. Move this guy out of the way. That joint is super duper clean. I need to clean the belt on that. I should have used my thong, shouldn't I? There you go. Wayne, every now and then I glue a pocket hole joint. Which one? I think that one's designed for there. This one's over here. And swing cameras again. Back to there. The things I have to do. Switch the camera over to the other one. And there, I'll do a quick read before I say goodbye. People are going, all right, Matthew, Andrew, I mean grey as a recycled water. I have issues with VAC not fitting Cyclone and Makita gear. Wayne, Dave, do you ever glue your pocket hole joints? Yes. I built a stool probably about 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And the top, the seat, oh, dearie me, go away, remind me later. Just had Windows tell me important updates are going to happen. I nearly wanted to stop the whole thing. Screw and glue is going to give you a better joint on a seat. Now, the reason I did it, I had a seat that I made a stool, joined 3 pieces together with the pocket holes, but I also glued those as well. So as soon as I screwed them together, I ran them through the drum sander. You know, straight away. That wasn't moving. It's a fantastic clamping system if you wanted to glue, or if you just want to screw it together, it will hold well. But if you get any shrinkage in the timber, you may end up having the joint move around slightly. So if you pop a bit of glue in there at the same time, it can be better. Dave, many thanks for a great show. My pleasure. I'm going to check the stream, and not check the stream, I'm going to check that I've got everything squared away. We've done Stuart's easel, the Festool plugger cables, what not to do, images from the Maleny show. Thank you very much for that, Steve. Drum sander, change of belt, demo and cleaning tip with the thong. That was a bit of fun, wasn't it? A bit of fun. T-H-U-N. Or P-H-U-N. There you go. Kreg K4 demo, Patreon, check out the rewards that I'm offering. And as I say, I really do appreciate the support for the people that are doing it with me. That's fantastic. It inspires me to keep going and you know, creating content. It all takes me time. New giveaway for the Stanley Black & Decker, for Australia only. You down in the description box or the show more area. All of that stuff's there. The Stanley level winner, I will be emailing you again. Oh, but not again. What am I talking about? I will be emailing you. I'm saying that again. And we'll get your shirt size. Photos from where you're watching, projects you are building in your shop. We want to see your shop, animals in your workshop. If you've got any pics, please. And happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. I'm going to have a quick read down through here. Much appreciated. Trev Hayden, thank you. Saying great show, thanks Dave. Wayne, bye all, keep safe. Barry Doxy, great show, some cable checking to do. I think that's about it. Have a great day. I shall see everyone next week. See you later.